Hi, my name is Roxanne Perry, live here in Denver, Colorado. I had an aunt, my dad's sister, who did not have children, was not married. She was single all of her life. When she did pass away, we had put in place a pre-burial agreement with the cemetery there in Lincoln, Nebraska. And after her service, which was real small, and her cremation, and she was buried alongside of her mother, we were meeting in the conference room there at the cemetery, and they informed me that she had 3 cemetery plots, which would have been really nice to know ahead of time. If anybody wants cemetery plots in Lincoln, Nebraska, I have 3 of them going real cheap, or to know that she had a plot there. I wouldn't have had to have them bury her next to her mother. They could have just used one of the plots that were already paid for. A number of years after my first aunt had passed away, my mom had a sister who helped me take care of my mother. A number of times she had always said, "Rox, if any papers, if you need anything, or if anything would happen to me, they're right in the bottom of my dresser, right in the bottom of my dresser." She kept saying that, and it's like, okay. She had stated that she had insurance policies, that sort of thing. I did know that she had a cemetery plot paid for, but outside of that, or I knew she had one. I didn't know what all it entailed. After her death, we looked in the bottom of her dresser drawer, and there was nothing to be found, really. She had some notes of different things, but nothing that related that she had any insurance, any information. And she did have a safety deposit box key. However, we found out later that the safety deposit box key, found the bank, didn't find anything in the safety deposit box after we had paid to have the box opened, because they have to drill those open. We were hoping that maybe her insurance papers might have been in the safety deposit box. They were not. My husband and I knew she probably had some sort of information. We wrote several letters, and I had to look back. I was still writing letters in 2008, trying to find what insurance company she might have a policy with. We wrote to everyone we could possibly think of. Finally, I think late 2008, we did receive a check from Prudential. She had a policy with them, but we hadn't known about that prior to that, so we ended up having to pay for her services. We had no information as far as insurance, what she had out there, what she had set up for her husband, if the house was paid for, what was going on. It was a real mess. When somebody passes away, you're not thinking about where these things are. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to try to search through everything. This has been a real eye-opener just in dealing with the past few family members that have passed. With everyone, we get a little bit better, but it's like, it is so nice to have everything in a package so that you've got that information. I have 2 children, and we plan to have advance arrangements help us with compiling everything. They live in California, and we're going to be coming back and forth between California and Colorado. With traffic what it is and air travel, you never know what's going to happen, so it would be nice to have everything in one spot. It will be nice to have everything in one spot so that you know what they are. I have a hard time now going from one room to the other and remembering what I've done with my glasses, let alone passwords and what accounts, or do we still have that policy. Any of this information, I think, that can be gathered together in a short amount of time, because you don't have necessarily the luxury of having a lot of time to search for things. Certainly you don't have 2 to 3 years to try to find and track down insurance policies that might have been from the 1950s. So again, I think having any kind of information centrally located so that you know your responsible person, whoever is going to be taking care of you, your child, a niece, another family member, or sister or brother, knows where that's at so that they have it together. That would be really helpful. We all like to think that nothing is ever going to happen to us, but the reality is, if you're born, sooner or later, something will happen to you. And you do need to have something that people can go to in a time of not only stress, but if something happened to me going back and forth to California, to my husband, one of us would need to check up on different things. We have most of our investments together. We should know about them. But when you're stressed, you don't think of that. So it's always nice to look at these things and say, oh, here it all is. Here's what I need. And just in the fact that we are going back and forth, and like I say, I don't know if I can remember my coffee in the other room, just where everything is at. Just because we'll be in different locations. If I can't get a hold of my husband, if he's somewhere else, if he needs to get a hold of some information that I might have, this would all be centrally located. This can only be life made simple. So if you have everything at your fingertips, something that you can scroll through, something my daughter or son can go through and take a look at and say, here's what mom would have wanted, here's what dad would have wanted. No depressing church music, or maybe they do. Just everything that you've got, that you want, that you know you want to state in your final wishes. As far as funeral, what you need as far as insurance or securities, it will all be there in one place. And I think I can only say that advance arrangements would make an easier way to live that. In this day and age when people's houses are flooded or fires, it's only nice to have something that's on an internet, on a secure spot, someplace where you can go to and not have to worry about lost papers, lost policy numbers, lost card numbers. It's all right there. If you're overseas and you need to access that information, if you can't, once they steal your credit card, you're not going to necessarily know it. If you've contacted them, that's great, but how do you find the number? You know, all of this could be right in one central location. That would really be helpful so that you've all got it together.